You are obviously a loser and cultivating immortals with mediocre talents. On the day of the burial, he was killed unexpectedly. Heaven and earth share the same sorrow. There are also 3,000 thieves and demons, dragging the bronze bone pill with the chain of law, step by step towards the depths of the vast reincarnation. Even those who stand at the end of time. The immortal and supreme God. Many great kings of the heavens in mythical times. At this moment, everyone is dying for you, and it keeps hurting you. Just because you awaken the afterlife system. Every word you said during your lifetime can become true. The premise is that someone must believe it. And enough people need to believe it. If enough people believe it, you can even live another life without death. You who just traveled through time, just a mortal without any magic power. By the former leader of the Taixuan Saint Emperor, brought out from the deepest part of the fairy tree. The previous sect master thought you were an adult who restrained his aura. Take you out of immortal wood and implore you to go to Taixuan Holy Land. You just agreed as you had nowhere to go for the time being. Did not think of, he actually directly became the elder of Taixuan Saint Emperor. Because the previous sect master worshipped you. And you rarely talk about sex in order to avoid causing trouble. This has led to more and more people misunderstanding you. You are in other people's minds. Gradually became a mysterious master. Later, relying on the resources of the sect. Although his talent is average, he gradually improves his cultivation. Lived steadily for 1,000 years. The older you get, the more mysterious you become. But you know better than anyone else. I didn't get any golden fingers. There's no transcendence beyond others to become a transcendent existence. Just take it slow and steady, when everything goes smoothly. For the entire Taixuan Saint Emperor, you are all veteran-level existences. In this magnificent fantasy world, the levels of practice are physical spiritual sea palace, magical powers, bridge robbers, virtual gods, true gods, gods and kings, saint, great saint, quasi-supreme, supreme realm. A total of 14 realms. In Taixuan Saint Emperor, it is one of the major holy places in the entire eastern wasteland. There have been powerful men at the level of great saints. But your cultivation is mediocre. Among the elders, he is not so conspicuous. After years of hard training, you only have the cultivation level of the early stage of true God realm, so you are quite emotional at the moment. As a time traveler. But his life is not as dazzling as a few of his disciples. If you say this, you will lose yourself as a time traveler. And when I think of those few of my disciples, there is a smile on the corner of your mouth. He murmured very happily. Although my life is ordinary. But my few disciples. But they are all genuine children of luck. A bright future with bright aura. Deceives so many children of destiny to become disciples. My life is not in vain. When the eldest disciple Chu Fen worshipped Taixuan Saint Emperor. Because it is impossible to open up the forest sea, being ruthlessly rejected by the people of the sect. The unparalleled holy body is a curse in the age of extreme spirits. But you accepted it without hesitation despite all the opinions. Be responsible for all cultivation resources. Break the curse of the unbreakable mirror for him. The second disciple, Zhao Hao, was originally the genius of the Zhao family. Young. He showed his terrifying talent in cultivation. It's a pity that I don't know why my cultivation suddenly dropped. Became useless overnight. Even his fiancé who has been engaged since childhood. At this time, I came to my door to break off the engagement. You who are traveling. I happened to encounter this extremely familiar scene. He came out and said to the young man, "Young man, do you know what 30 years of Hexi is? 30 years in head-on. Don't bully young people into poverty. Since you brought him back, it happened to break him. The curse of sudden fall in cultivation. 3 years later, Zhao Hao climbed into the situation where his fiancé was. That day he finally avenged his shame and shocked everyone. There are also 3 disciples who were born mean-spirited. But he was poached by his own race when he was young. Later, since I have taught several powerful disciples, Some disciples with extremely powerful talents also came after hearing the news. For these disciples, you're probably just coaxing and lying, fooled into his own door. For example, Chu Fan, the disciple who was born with a spiritual body. At that time, he became famous. I am so grateful to you as my master. So it was just adding fuel and vinegar to it, bragging you to the point where you even blush a little bit. In the end, he chose you without hesitation as his master and the initiator of all this. Naturally, you reluctantly accepted it. There is another disciple who possesses the exquisite heart with 7 apertures. In order to accept this disciple as his disciple, some elders, they even started fighting directly in the main hall. However, you just walked in front of this disciple, knocked him lightly on the top of his head 3 times. Then he left with his hands behind his back. That night, he quickly came to your door. He said you hit him 3 times and put your hands behind your back. You want him to go through the back door at midnight, come to you and become a disciple, and ask you where you came from. In order to maintain one's own image, you had no choice but to brag about yourself. Those past lives, what is depicted on the books you see. At last, the disciple who was fooled had a look of astonishment and admiration on his face. I immediately worshipped you as my teacher on the spot. It's also his fault that he's too smart, if others wouldn't be fooled by you at all. It's just that I am old. I'm afraid those words I said at the beginning could not contain the fire to be seen through. Just thinking of this, you suddenly coughed. You cover your mouth with an embroidered handkerchief. Just a moment, the bright red blood suddenly dyed the embroidered handkerchief red. There was a complicated emotion in your eyes. It's natural. Even though you don't have much qualifications, you're lucky to have made it to where you are today. Then the mirror was forcibly broken. Unsurprising failure. Plus the recurrence of old injuries left a backlash. Let the already small lifespan be wiped out more quickly. You have become like this, a piece of bamboo in the wind. I estimate that I only have 2 or 3 months to live now. You look up at the sky and count with your fingers. I estimated the approximate time I have left. I have no regrets in this life. The clouds are light and the wind is light. Ding, when you are filled with emotions. Suddenly in your mind, there was a strange sound. It is detected that the host dies and becomes true. The system is successfully bound. After death system. When the host's lifespan is only 100 days, the binding conditions can be met. During this period, any word spoken by the host during his lifetime can become real. The premise is that someone must believe it. If enough people believe it, even if I live a lifetime, even if you are immortal, you can do it. After listening to the introduction of the system, you are instantly stunned. If I told a big lie, only one person believes this is naturally false. But if everyone speaks like gold, the system can make it real. You immediately start to make your own plan step by step. You can definitely make a long-term last wish yourself. Divide it into several steps and then implement it step by step. Maybe just let yourself live a few more days at first. But slowly I can live for another year. 2 years will eventually lead to eternal life. At this moment, a girl in her 20s walks slowly with a bowl in hand. The girl's name is Zhang Chuchu. He is the youngest disciple you have ever accepted. He is the most filial among all the disciples. Especially during the time when you were seriously injured. I can't serve you forever. But when he gets close, I noticed a trace of blood smell. He hurriedly walked forward and threw himself in front of you, crying till the pear blossoms are covered with rain. Master, has your injury worsened again? You gently touched Zhang Chuchu's head and said, You've grown up to be a girl, why are you still crying? Zhang Chuchu talked about it one sentence after another. Aren't disciples worried about Master? Master, you must finish drinking this time. Otherwise, Chuchu will stay here and not leave. You know it won't do much good for you. But he still picked it up cheerfully, drinking every drop left in front of Zhang Chuchu. Zhang Chuchu breathed a sigh of relief, said with determination, Brothers and sisters, I will definitely find a healing holy door for Master to extend his life. Before your disciples know that your old injury has relapsed. When ki and blood are exhausted to the point where life is short. Your disciples all dropped everything they were doing. Let's go out together to look for things that can extend your life and heal your wounds. Only the young apprentice left Choo-Choo to accompany him. Sitting Choo-Choo next to you with a worried look on his face. In order not to make you sad, he began to talk about the past. The more you talk, the more distant you become. By the way, Master, you said you once served as an official to quell the darkness and turmoil. Refers to the source of darkness and breaks through the sky, but there is no one there. Such an invincible feeling. What exactly is it like? You look at this simple silly child. These are just to maintain the image of a superior person. Just bragging. And what about Zhang Choo-Choo? There was not even the slightest doubt. But now that you have the system, you can make everything come true. Thinking of this, you can't help but feel a little excited. Even if communication is started with the system. Start formulating a complaint. Use your mind. He wrote a mysterious past for himself. Open your eyes and look at Zhang Choo-Choo beside you. I suddenly become deep. He smiled calmly and said that things have happened so far. I won't hide some things from you as a teacher. Zhang Choo-Choo was puzzled. Carefully asked Master, what do you want to say? Haven't you always been curious about Shishi's past? Then I want to tell you my real reason for coming. Zhang Choo-Choo was a little stunned. Although I have heard that Master's origin is mysterious and unpredictable. But no one really knows what it is. The next second you will talk about the long history of ancient times. But before this ancient time, there were immortals. At the beginning of ancient times, there was a mythical era. Before the age of mythology, chaos was undivided. The world has not yet opened. The world is in chaos, in which countless innate gods are conceived. Just a simple description. This has already shocked Zhang Choo-Choo. The ancient times were all legends. What's more, there's the age of mythology on top of it. Then he said that before heaven and earth were divided, there was an innate god named Pangu, born out of chaos. Suddenly feel the change of heaven. Use your great supernatural powers to split the chaos, and the world will be born. Then the Tao between heaven and earth gave birth to one life, 2 and 3, and gave birth to all things. All spirits exist in heaven and earth. However, there is no spiritual leader. An innate deity named Nua made humans from clay. Create innate human ancestors. After listening to Choo-Choo, he was convinced. Just because of your word, 1 life, 2, 3, all things are born. Secretly conforming to the mysterious avenue of heaven and earth. Immediately and earnestly asked the Taoist master, where are you from? You still look enigmatic. The right way is to have Pangu first and then bless the heavens. As a teacher, I felt pain again in front of Pangu. After you brag, you will stop talking. But when you set your sights on your little apprentice. But it was at that moment that I saw ripples in his eyes. Could it be that he believed everything? Master, please go on. Looking at the girl's admiring eyes, you couldn't help but rub his head. With a doting look on his face, he said another day. I will tell you in detail when I have a chance. After leaving with Zhang Choo-Choo. In your mind. But suddenly I remembered a familiar voice. Congratulations to the host. The apprentice trusts Choo-Choo 100%. Received preliminary award from the first hospital. Reward 3 Great Sage Peak Cultivation Experience cards. After using it, you can have the Great Sage for an hour. Peak Cultivation level. Reward Spiritual Seal. This is a powerful weapon passed down from generation to generation at the level of a Great Sage. If fully exerted, possessing the terrifying power of destroying heaven and earth.